You're probably here on this channel and watching this specific video because you're trying to find deeply discounted properties. How do you do that? If you're here, you can see it's called Driving for Dollars Mastery. We find our properties, our discounted opportunities. I make over $1 million a year finding discounted opportunities through Driving for Dollars. In this video, we're gonna be talking about, you gotta find the ugly houses. That's what Driving for Dollars is, driving around, finding those ugly houses. And that's step one. We talk about this on this channel, but we're gonna go into more depth on step two, which is what do you do with those ugly houses once you find them? How do we find those sellers? How do we talk to those sellers? How do we reach out to them? How do we find out if they want to sell? So how do we reach out to those ugly houses? And we're going to be covering that in today's show. Everyone, welcome to this show. If this is the first time you've been here, welcome. We do everything real estate investing and helping you guys get started, help you guys get your first deal, and talk everything Driving for Dollars, which is how I have made over $1 million a year for multiple years in a row in using this strategy. So if you're new, welcome. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon so you're reminded of any new videos that are coming out. They're going to make a massive difference in your business. If this is the first time you guys are here, how did you find me and why are you here? What are you trying to get out of your research in doing real estate? Like, why are you here? What are you trying to understand? What are you trying to accomplish? So if you are unfamiliar with what Driving for Dollars is, let's do a very quick deep dive of what this is. So what that is you drive around, you find ugly houses, right? Houses with physical signs of neglect. Once you find those ugly houses, you find out who owns them, and then you reach out and see if they want to sell. So to do this correctly and to reach out to them and do the second part of this strategy, you have to make sure you've done the first part correctly. Because if you build a list of houses or you don't have proper information on who owns that house, you're never going to be able to talk to the seller. So I want you guys to understand what I am doing. You can go download an app. It's called Deal Machine. If you use my discount code PIN, P-I-N, not only will you get a discount, but you'll get free trial. Plus you'll be able to get some free spending on the app. So you'll get postcards and phone numbers and ways to reach out to these sellers. You'll get some free information there as well. So the reason I say use Deal Machine is not because I'm trying to sell you Deal Machine. I don't own Deal Machine, but it's the app, it's the system that I use to add those properties. So as you drive through these neighborhoods, you need to find out who owns them. Right? So if you just see the house and the address, you could write down the house address and look it up on county records and find out who owns it, the mailing address, the property address, and the owner's information. Then you could take that information and then go to another company like BatchSkip Tracing or others and pay for phone numbers and get phone numbers to call or text them. So it could be done. That's how I started, but it's very ineffective. It takes a ton of time. With Deal Machine, you're able to drive through the neighborhoods. It's a Google Maps image. You'll be able to identify the house, touch the house on your phone, right? And it'll upload all of the information you need in an Excel spreadsheet. Right there within the app, you can start your postcard campaign, so it'll start sending postcards. Right there within the app, you can text them, you can call them, all right there in the convenience of the app. That's why I suggest that you do it. So now that you've built the most accurate list as fast as possible using the Deal Machine app, now let's reach out to them. There are 3 ways that I like to reach out to that list. I use texting, cold calling, and sending postcards. There are 2 other main strategies that people use. It's ringless voicemails, which I highly suggest you don't do because of some legalities and a few other reasons. The other one that we do a little bit of, but it's not very cost or time effective, is doing door knocking. But it's definitely a great way, especially if you're just starting out and you have zero money whatsoever, to go out and find a discounted opportunity. You know, door knocking is a great way to get started. So if you're enjoying the content so far and getting value, make sure you smash that like button, and let's get into the first step, which is texting. So when it comes to texting, you can text anyone, right? You can reach out and talk to anybody. If they're on the do not call list, you should not text them, right? It's against the law. So be careful and understand that when you're going to do this business, there are some legalities, and double check everything that I'm suggesting you do with an attorney. So what I currently do is I don't just send text messages on my phone, right? And I don't necessarily do it through the Deal Machine app. You can, it's not as efficient. You can send large amounts of text quickly. I'm using a company that's called batchleads.com. If you use my discount code DFD, you can do it for much cheaper and a lot better pricing for sending text messages. and for buying phone numbers. They do also offer data for phone numbers. So the reason we use them is we're able to send a massive amount of text messages quickly and respond right there within the platform. So I can be on my computer texting and going back and forth with people that potentially would like to sell their house. So I can take that list from Deal Machine and upload it into Batch Leads and be able to start texting on a larger scale, right? And see if they want to sell. So there's some things you need to understand with that. There are legalities. There are also the ability to deliver those text messages. So recently, over the last 12 months, new laws have been passed where phone carriers are like AT&T and T-Mobile and some of these are required to block spam text messages. And so if you want your text messages delivered, you have to follow certain protocol of registering your phone numbers, getting an LLC and filing your LLC to get those text messages delivered to who you want them to be delivered to. So it's a little bit harder to do, right, especially now than it used to be, but I have some good news for you. If it's a little bit harder to do, what does that mean? Less people will do it, which means it's going to be more successful. So text messaging has been a great way for us to find deeply discounted deals. Another strategy is cold calling. So cold calling is very similar to texting, where you use Deal Machine, you get the phone numbers, right? And you can call. You can call right there within the app, or you can call on your phone, but you can also upload it into another platform and call multiple people at one time. You'd be like, well, how do you talk to multiple people at one time? You don't. Right? But what you do have is you have a platform that's dialing for you, so you're not hand dialing, right? And you can call one person at a time where it's dialing, and you're waiting to answer and they don't answer, so it'll go to the next one. But they have other platforms that'll call 3 or even up to 12 people at the same time. And if someone answers, you start talking to them. And as soon as someone else answers, it goes, it'll leave a recording like, hello, sorry, my phone's not working, I'll call you right back. And it hangs up. And then it dials them as soon as you hang up with a previous person, they answer and you have conversations. So you can have 10 times more conversations in the same amount of time, right? A couple of those different platforms are mojosales.com, which is the platform that I used on the 40-day challenge. If you have not seen that, I'll leave a link right here. I'll also leave a link at the end of this video of me taking $1,000, turning it into $93,000 in just 40 days using the strategy, driving around, finding ugly houses and cold calling. I use Mojo, but there's others like Call Tools and a few others where you can call and get a hold of a lot of people quickly. And you might be really uncomfortable or nervous to do that. You might be worried about objection. It happens. You're gonna get yelled at. It's gonna be uncomfortable. So just understand that if you want to have success, you're going to have to push through some discomfort. The third strategy and a very successful way to find deeply discounted properties is postcards. And a lot of people love this strategy, and I love it because I make money off of it, right? But the other reason that it's nice is it's very automated, where texting and cold calling requires a lot more time and doing. It requires you interact with a lot of people that don't want your services. You're gonna get a lot of angry people. You don't completely avoid angry and crazy people with postcards. I mean, think about what you're doing. You're driving around and you're finding the most ugly, problematic properties, thus problematic people, and you're sending marketing to them. You're going to get rejection, right? I want you to understand that if you're not getting rejection, that means you're not pushing hard enough. So the first time you get hate mail, the first time you get a nasty voicemail, the first time you get nudes texted to you, you need to understand that that is a win, right? You are working towards finding the person that does want to sell their house. So with postcards, we send a postcard immediately after finding the house, and we send a series of a couple more postcards. Those postcards, we try and go as cheap as possible on pricing. We want them to say, hey, we'd like to buy your house at XYZ address. And so there's different postcard companies that can help you guys do that, right? And a lot of Deal Machine app is actually really great for that, for starting campaigns. And so if you're just starting out, maybe that's the best place to start, is right there within Deal Machine using those postcards. So a quick recap, you find your discounted properties by doing what's called driving for dollars. Drive around, find those ugly houses, add them using the Deal Machine app, and then reach out and see if they want to sell. Text, cold call, postcards, choose one of them. You don't have to do all three, but I make money doing all three of these strategies, and I make quite a bit, and you guys can do the same. It's not super complicated. It is a little intimidating. Yes, it's scary. Yes, you're going to deal with rejection. But if you want to have success in this business, you need to push through. And as I promised, here is a link to that video of me doing it live in action, you seeing me get rejected, you seeing me make money, seeing what it really takes. It's a lot of hard work. It's not the funnest thing in the world to do, but if it's done right, you can make a lot of money and build financial freedom. And then if you would like to, you could even eventually put a team in place and allow yourself to have the time freedom to go do other things, which is why I'm able to do podcasts and YouTubes. It's because I have a team in place. You don't always have to go through the grind and do the cold calling and that kind of stuff. But I promise you, it is the best business there possibly could be for building wealth and having success. So make sure, if you have not watched the 40-day challenge, check it out. And then if you guys have any interest in allowing me to be your coach and to helping you, I have a program to help you get your first deal, to help you get started doing driving for dollars. Because many of you are like, okay, I know how to do driving for dollars. I'll go download the app and do the action steps. Well, how do you know what the property's worth? How to negotiate, right? What's the criteria? I guarantee you have a ton of questions in your mind and what to do and how to do it. And I'd like to coach you. It's what I'm really good at. I love helping people get their first deal. So go to dfdmastery.com. The link's right here. and click on that link. It's also going to be in the show notes. Go book a call. We'll talk to you about the program and how it works, how you'll have direct access to me and my cell phone and everything else. So if you have any interest in learning about the coaching program and see if you'd like to fast track your way to your first deal, go and book that call. Everyone, thanks for joining us in another episode, and we'll see you in the next one.